Okay, it is the HDFNL Footy show this time, not the Netty. Netty normally outrates us, Dave. I hate to tell you that, but it does, the Netty show.
Oh no, the popular program, and well done to the girls there. And good evening to you, Brian, and good evening to all our viewers for another week of HDFL action.
Yeah, I don't think that was genuine. I think you were basically saying I couldn't give a stuff about the girls are just lucky. That's what you were saying.
No, you're putting words in my mouth, and that's not true.
Well, you've said it before. You wouldn't know about last week because you nicked off to the Gold Coast, but you would have been keeping
I
a
did.
close eye on everything.
Yeah, no, I was. Well, it was very hard to resist 25 degrees and sunshine and beautiful weather. Stepped straight out from the apartment straight onto the beach at the Gold Coast.
Oh,
But
terrible.
yeah, very terrible, very hard, and good to see the Pies get up. But no, I did keep a tab on the Heathcote District Footy League round of action, only because it's made possible through Super TV that I could do so, Brian.
It is indeedy, and every game is on our YouTube. Every
It
game.
it is.
So you're always up there by at least 6 o'clock on a Sunday night, and then of course we've let Jude do a little bit of commentary by himself in the Huntley games. He's getting there. He's been that good. We've given him this week off because they got the bye. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to commentate, wants to have a crack on our tape games like that, happy to let's have a go. And there's not enough of that going around, Dave. Not enough people get a go at it, I reckon.
No, and it's good like people like yourself give people like me the opportunity, Brian, which I really
Well,
appreciate.
it doesn't like if it's you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
I wasn't always fantastic, but you got to start
No,
somewhere.
Donna modeled you very well.
Yeah, she did. That was Donna's fault. But again, like I said, mate, have a crack. Who cares? I mean, if people don't like it, turn the volume down.
Well, I look at people like Joel Pedersen and Trav Fitzgibbon and
Yeah,
even the great Barry Denner who started, in video
yeah,
footy calling games, and that's how they progress through the ranks, Brian.
yeah. They did. I think if you ask the fresh guys though, there'd be fresh FM. That is the. I don't think there's a lot coming through that want to do it anymore, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, Cameron Power's another one who's pretty handy with it. Old Johnny does a good job, and yeah, I mean, there's so many people that have come from there, and it's a tribute to. It really is a tribute to who's who of footy falling when you see
Oh, yeah.
all those guys. I mean, the only one that ever made it on Triple M was me. I actually didn't make it, so yeah. Anyway,
There you go.
but
All right, enough about you. Let's get into the HDFL round 13 results. And it was a big game up at Lockington v Heathcote. Now this was I said last week was an 8 point game, and it turned out in favour of the Wayside, and Heathcote winning 10-11-71 to Lockington 7-4 46, which really now puts Lockington in a very precarious position for their run home in the top five.
yeah,
For Heathcote, that win has pushed them up to fourth, and I think from when I looked at the ladder not too long ago, it gives them about a 10 point buffer on Leach Hill, who's sitting six, so that's 2.5 games. We've only about 6 rounds to go. It gives them a good position there, Brian.
yeah. I think if you look at the Super TV Facebook page, you'll find that the ante has been upped. So we do the scores and we do the ladders too. So and that's not just for Heathcote, that's for every comp around
Yeah, I
the
did
area.
notice that.
So yeah, we'll get to that soon when we talk about a few questions. But I was watching that game with interest, and Lockie were up there by a few points around half time. And yeah, look at they've lost Thomas Leach for 5 matches on that incident with from North Bendigo. What was the man I'm thinking of? Darcy, is it?
Darcy Richards.
Darcy Richards. Yep. So 5 weeks. So that's
Yeah,
into the season. That was a game from a couple of weeks back. So they've lost him. He
yeah,
was a bit of a big. Well, he was a big feature down in the forward line. Has been for a long time. So that wouldn't help. But
yeah.
yeah, tough
Looking
day.
at the goal kickers for Heathcote, Sean Williams kicking four, Dylan Johnson two, and Liam Jarks kicking two. And really for Lockington, there was no one apart from Nicholas Sheldon kicking multiple goals. So I think you said a couple of weeks ago, it depends which Lockington turns up on the day, and that would have been a disappointing loss, particularly playing at home and particularly after they beat Heathcote earlier in the year. So
Yep.
I have to say, Heathcote's probably one of the form sides at the moment. They haven't done a foot wrong since beating Colburn Avon, and really, they're trying to consolidate, the top three spot, which is going to be set up for a cracker of a game this weekend, which we'll talk about later, Brian.
Yeah, we will indeed. Probably the other game, someone had to win, and I think it was probably good for Elmore to have a win. White Hills and Elmore are pretty even. So Elmore finally got a win at home.
Yeah, it would have been pleasing for Coach Luke Freeman to actually get the 4 points. Second win of the year. They won pretty comfortably, 10-10-70 to 7-9-51. Just looking at some of the better players for Elmore, James Harney, Matty O'Dwyer, Joey Harney, and Reese Holmberg. For White Hills, Mitchie Dole, Dylan Nile, I should say, Kai Shoya, and Jack Lawton, some of the better players. James Harney had a bit of a day out, found some form kicking 4 goals. He was probably the key forward on the ground. And yeah, again, for White, it was just single goal kickers to Boyd, Dole, Gilati, Sawyer, and Paddy Conlon. So, look, I'm sure it gives Luke and the boys at Elmore a bit of confidence to go into the next few rounds and, obviously try a few things and readiness for next year.
Well, we've got a big one coming up this week. We actually said we'll discuss. If I don't pick you up on this, then I'm going to get shot. Gelatly.
Yes.
Only got told off by Tone and his beautiful wife for 15 years about that.
Yeah.
So, and the other game, obviously, I was at, which was Mount Pleasant, Colbo. Mount's a good club. Let's face it, we know that. But I think it was wet. I mean wet, as in the ground. It was no rain on the day, but the ground was damp. Walking through it, the mud as you were coming in, and it was pretty thick. So it was always going to be, a kick along the ground, chase type footy. And I think we both tried to play dry weather footy for a while. Didn't really work that well.
Yeah, right. So the old-fashioned wet weather football was required, and probably two sides that probably haven't been used to
Yeah,
those type of conditions.
yeah. There was
Yeah,
a lot of holding the ball decisions in the game, which meant that, they were still trying to play it as though the wet weather, trying to get around a player, and the ball usually is in your hand while it's slipping off and stuff like that.
yep.
Look,
Brody Lennon Shannon looked like he had a day out, Cogs, kicking
is
5
that?
goals. Brody Lennon Shannon.
Yeah, look, he did. Yeah, absolutely. He's a good focal point up there. Mitchie Bennett is doing a bit of ruck work. So, and then they played Nicholas on down back, which was interesting, on Carr. So yeah, look, they did their homework on Colbo, but
Yep.
then
Yep.
yeah, Colbo are not far away. Don't get me wrong. I mean, anyone with Grenfell in the side who still kicks
Yep.
goals and plays in the ruck, and Alex Carr, and a few of the others, they're still thereabouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Looks like
just felt,
Grenfell kicked.
yeah,
I was going to say, looks like Grenfell kicked 4 goals. Am I right in saying that?
yeah, it did. But the thing is that the Bendigo players, the two Wharton brothers, I'm
Yep.
not sure where Xavier Carter comes from, but he can play.
Yeah.
Is he in the best players in your list there? Surely, tell me.
Xavier Carter. Now he's son of Cameron Carter, so he's
Yeah,
come from good stock. Let's have a look. Yeah, he was named the
had to
best.
be.
Him and Ollie Bish.
Had to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
he was good on a wet day where everyone else struggled to pick the ball up. He had no issue. So, and he's a tough
Yeah.
little
Right.
bugger too, like his old man was. So, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But no,
And
they've
the
got
other.
yeah, they're both good sides. But again, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Do you think with Colbo, they'll just go back and do their homework? And I guess, the next time they're going to meet is probably in August, September when the conditions are a bit drier and that.
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't, and they wouldn't be anyway. I don't think they'd be overly concerned by losing. I think
Yeah.
it's a lesson you want to kind of lose something now, work out what's going on. Yeah, but they won't play each other until the finals. There's only 5
Yeah. Right.
to go. So yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. I think they're going to finish in the top 4 both sides. Well, Mounts will. Yeah,
Yep.
but I just don't think there's anything in it. I really don't. That could have easily
Yeah.
been Colbo that. They came back, they got within about 14 points, and then Mounts just went on with it. But again, their rovers and their midfielders that are quite good, electric, and they use the whole ground.
Yeah. And the surprise packet, I guess, Huntley winning pretty strong over Litchfield Gumbauer. They took that one 14-8 92 to 7-7 49. And just when you think they're down and out, no chance of making finals, they just do it again, Cogs, and prove everyone wrong.
Well, they've got a bye this week, which would kind of annoy them, I think.
Yeah.
Huntley, that is, and we will talk about that now because the run home, they got a bye this week, Huntley. Then they play Lockie up at Lockie.
Yep.
Then they've got Colbo at home, and then they finish off
Hmm.
with. Oh, sorry, no, they play Elmore at Elmore, and then they've got North Bendigo at home. So, there's a couple of winnable games there, and let's face it, who they're up against is Lockie and Leachy Gunny. They're the two teams that they're fighting for that fifth spot, I would think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Mind
looking
you,
like,
Heathcote's not far in front of either of them, but I just the way Heathcote's going at the moment, they just seem to be taking everything in. Heathcote's got, for example, what have we got this week? Heathcote's got we know Colbo this week, so that's a big game.
yep,
Then they've got Elmore at Elmore's home, and then they've got
yep,
North Bendigo at home, Heathcote.
yep,
And last game, they've got White Hills at White
Blight
Hills. So
Hills.
it's not a bad run, all due respect to the sides, but it's not a bad run home for Heathcote.
Yeah, exactly. And just looking at the goal kicker, Sammy Dunstan kicking 7 goals, as we know, he's a proven forward up there. Pivotal, and Lockie Wilson kicking 3. So they were the major goal kickers for Huntley, and for Jack Dye, 4 goals. And yeah, no one really else of note in that kicking 4 of the 7 goals. Do you think it's going to be a battle between Leachville and Lockington for that fifth spot?
No, I think if Huntley get there, look out. I just
Yeah,
they've beaten Mount Pleasant, and I just again depends who turns up. I mean, you tag Dunstan for a start, clearly, but again,
yeah,
I reckon if they make the five, I think Leachy did it last year, didn't they? When they finished fourth or something, and then all of a sudden they were
yeah,
decided. I just reckon Huntley's that side this year. I don't think without being you got to be honest because that's what you're here for. I don't think Lockie will make it.
yeah. No, looking at the ladder now, you got Lockington on 24 points, Litchfield on 20, and Huntley sitting seventh on 16. So at the moment, Huntley had 2 games out of the 5. Pardon me, but like you said, with that run home, if they can knock off Lockington, I think that's going to be the critical game. It's going to decide that fifth spot.
Yeah. Well, how it turns out is that Huntley's got a bye this week, but Lockie have a bye in round 16, which means that the next
Yep.
game Huntley plays is against Lockington next week. Now that will
Yeah,
tell
right.
us a bit about what's going on. If Huntley loses that game, they're done. They're going to fight
Yep.
very hard because the week
Yeah,
after they have
exactly.
Colbo.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
So
and just looking at the ladder, we got
yeah, go on.
Mount Pleasant on top on 40 points, then Colbo on 32, North Bendigo and Heathcote equal on 30, and rounding out the 5, you got Lockington on 24 points. So, yeah, unless you're 1 game behind on 20,
And one game behind that is Huntley.
and 1 game behind that's
Yeah,
Huntley,
so they're
correct?
2 games behind. That's what I'm saying. Is that this
Yeah,
week, if someone's going to pick up 4 points, and with them having the bye, which someone's got to win out of Lockie and sorry, take that back. Where am I? Oh yeah, there. At least he played Lockie. Someone's going to win.
yeah, exactly.
If Leachy win, then again it's a. I don't think Leachville's got the bye. No, they haven't. So you would
Nah,
think
I think they've already had it for the second half. Yeah, correct.
yeah, yeah. But maybe it's panning out pretty good. And the teams like North Bendigo and Heathcote are not that far in front of the others.
No,
They're only 30,
the
32.
Colbo's on 32, Heathcote's on 30, North Bendigo on 30. So they're a game and a half clear of Lockington and 2.5 games clear of Leachfield.
Now, if Heathcote beat Colbo this week at home, then Heathcote will go in front of
We'll
Colbo.
jump up to either second or
Yeah.
third, correct? Yeah.
And North Bendigo wins, so it means Colbo goes from second to fourth.
Yeah, such is tightness of that
Correct.
mid group in that top 5.
Yeah. So there's a fair bit to play for. I can't believe though that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds left.
Yeah, it's coming up quick enough.
Yeah.
It only felt like the other day we were just talking about the very first round of the HDFNL, but yeah, it is. We're getting over through that, that mid-season hump, and yeah, and down on the downward slope, so to speak.
Indeedy. All right. Let's throw a few questions out there. The first one for me, Dave, to you is And we kind of use it as a yay and a. We can't sit on the fence, otherwise we get splinters in our bum, but we can't anyway. Kahuna, the meeting is on now, tonight, Wednesday, tonight. To
Wednesday
find,
night. Yep.
sorry, when I say that, the Kahuna people will present to all the presidents of the HDFNL.
Yeah. So it's a presentation to the
Yeah,
member clubs of the HDFNL to accept entry into the competition. Look, I've heard both sides of the argument, and I'll still maintain I don't think clubs will be receptive to their proposal purely on the basis that to have Kahuna in will make them a 10th club, and that you will then eliminate the buy. And for clubs, they do cherish that buy in terms of it's two less games that you have to find player payments, and it's two less games where you have to request volunteers and resources, and it gives teams a break as well in terms of aid and recovery. So I think they're going to be the major sticking points that Kahuna is going to have to overcome to convince the clubs to accept them into the competition.
yeah. I had
So
this
it's a
chat on
nay.
the netball show before, which you didn't watch. You never do. And it was about this, and the girls, like you just said, love their buy. They love their buy.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
and they also said exactly what you said about the volunteers, etc. The problem I have with that is that you can have a buy in the Kings weekend, long weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a buy. Take the like Bendigo did last week. Just take the round off.
Yep.
There's your buy. You're missing out on one, but do it somewhere else if that's important. The other thing is that the money and all that. Well, you're still getting your gate. You're still going to get your gate and be able to pay players. So that's not that big a
Yeah, well,
disruption.
the gate doesn't cover the player payments.
No, it probably
It
doesn't.
goes
But
towards, yeah. Gate and bar and canteen sales wouldn't be enough. I wouldn't have thought at a country level to subsidise the cost of players. It's where they really get the big dollars is through their sponsorships. So they're going to have to go out and ask for more sponsorship in these tough economic times. I don't know if businesses can increase their spend, but it'll be interesting. And the travel factor is the other thing we haven't discussed.
yeah, some of the teams in the Central Murray League are travelling 2 hours to play. I mean,
Yeah, but they're used to
every
that.
comp, eh?
They're used to that. This is the
Probably.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would
Well, what's
suggest
your view? What's your view? Is it
I
a yay or
suggest
nay for you?
Wrong to McCorner's a fair distance, mate. It'd be
Yep.
2 hours.
Yep.
Some of the teams in the Maryborough Castlemaine League, from Harcourt to some right up to Lexington, that's a fair way. So I just
Yeah.
the other thing is that what's the other thing I was going to say to you too is that with this week, Huntley have got the bye, right? But if you've got 10 teams, they then have a chance to pick up some points. At the moment, they're going to do nothing because they have a bye. That's how it is. So you can look at it
Yep.
that way as well. Yeah, sure, people
Yep.
get a break, but I don't know. I mean, it seems to be working well with Loddon Valley. I don't know if asked them at the end of the season whether they needed a break and whatever.
Yeah, well, that's right. Time will tell. So, all you can say is good luck to Kahuna and their submission.
Yeah, indeed, and it's up to the presidents to vote. And I've got no doubt they're probably few of them will rang each other. And I
Oh,
think the
yeah.
only thing is, Dave, is that a lot of the players, a lot of teams would go, oh well, we're not going to have, say, Kahuna flog our players or try and recruit because it is a fair way. So I could see that point of view. It'd be like Broadford and Bendigo. Broadford
Yeah, exactly.
attract anyone from the
No, no,
Bendigo.
I do agree with that. The player base, although they did say they lost 6 players to Bendigo, that were travelling up. So, you don't know. Anyway, time will tell.
It will, absolutely. At least we'll have
Now,
someone to play 15 minutes down the road. That'll be different.
wow, that's probably the plus for them. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
that would
think
spark a good rivalry in the competition.
hour and a half from Bendigo, an hour 47 from Heathcote,
Yeah. Yeah.
and half an
Now I've
hour
got one for
from,
you.
hey?
Now I've got one for you, Brian.
Oh, wow, hang on.
Now, unfortunately, over the weekend we had the tragic news of the passing of a player down in Melbourne.
Yep.
Unfortunately, hit his head on what
Yeah.
they're saying is the cricket pitch. Your thoughts on the covering of cricket pitches? You've been a club president of a cricket club and you've played on some grounds around where they multi-use the facilities for both football and cricket. What's your view on just the synthetic covering of the pitches during the winter months?
Yeah, well, first of all, condolences to young Fitzy's family and yeah, it's just sad that you lose someone that's gone out to play footy with his mates in the reserves, and he just come home. It's just I can't even fathom how that would feel. I wouldn't know, and
No,
I
shocking.
can't. So yeah, please rest in peace to young Fitzy. They have to be covered. I can't even. When I saw it, I thought the same thing. I thought, why the hell have you not got it covered? And look, and this is gonna, and you know that obviously, cricket.
Well, it is covered, but it's covered with a synthetic covering. It's not the it's not the actual pitch. But there's no, I guess, soft fall
Yeah,
in that
but
covering.
most
That's
of
the
the
issue.
grounds are covered with dirt.
Yeah, sand or dirt.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the other issue is, and no one said this much at all, and now we're starting to talk about all these things. Clearly, there's going to be a lot more chat with this. Is that, mate, some of those turf wickets are just as hard. They're like concrete.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So what do you
Yep.
do? What's the happy medium? And I'll spin it back to you. Is it you playing a bit of turf at the moment? I actually know, yeah, you play Division 4 now. But I would think, because we're all conscious of it now and what's happened, I think there'll be a real big rethink in the whole thing. I like what Calgully does. They have covers under it, they put the thing on top. It's a massive
Yep.
job, as you know. Um,
Yeah.
but is it? But it could save a life.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So what they do, Calgary, for those that don't know, they put a synthetic layer over the top of the actual pitch, and then they'll cover it with sand. Takes a bit to put it on. It takes a bit to take it off. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're protecting those type of injuries from happening. I think the issue is ground scarcity in Melbourne, particularly in Metro Melbourne. You can't have a dedicated football and you can't have a dedicated cricket pitch because there's simply just not enough grounds to go around. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Some clubs or some grounds council will put those rubber particles as a bit of a layer of it, but when they get wet, they get a bit slippery as well. So yeah, not sure what the
Well,
solution is there.
well, I can remember with the girls going to Melbourne, there was hardly any grounds at all that had coverings. There were, some had two pitches on them. Like, okay.
Yeah, right.
I think what will happen, because of insurance factors a whole lot, is that the AFL, and this includes country, will have to do something with those, because you can't. I mean, it's an accident sadly waiting to happen. I know he hit heads first, and then
Yeah,
it hit the. Mate, it's concrete. You know that it's concrete. It's
yeah,
got about
exactly.
that much carpet on it. The rest is
Yeah,
concrete,
yeah, exactly. And it's a
and
solid
turf
footing
turns
too.
into concrete because it's so hard.
Yeah, that's right. And we've seen around some of the Bendigo clubs earlier in this year, in the BFNL. The middle wicket was just as like concrete because of the turf hardness. So yeah, it's an interesting one. And
The
like you
only
said,
the only thing, Dave, with your turf wickets is the light. Now we've had a bit of rain, so it's not as bad. It's muddy.
yeah, it
Yeah,
softens up.
it
Yeah.
doesn't soften up synthetic. It's still hard.
No. Yeah,
And
exactly.
you know what? There's a lot of kids playing on it as well. So I think that whether it's the council or the school that owns the ground or whatever, it should be part of it that you get something on that ground, because it's not just kids that are playing Saturday. School kids on school grounds are playing all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It'll come
Again,
up,
his
mate. It'll
condolences.
come up, and they'll be asked for a solution to it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We better get on to this week's round of games.
Yes, indeedy, we will. We're glad to maybe have you back with us, but there's some big games on. The match of the round is out at Mount Pleasant. We'll talk about that coming up very, very soon, David. But yeah, probably the crucial one is at the two between the two L's at the L at Leachville, which you'd never ever get to anyway. But that will
I've got
be,
this permanent ban, as you know.
yeah, Leachy Gunny and Lockie Bemourn. Mm-mm. Geez,
Yeah,
it's
look,
hard to pick a winner, and there's a lot to play for.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, it's another 8 point game for both sides. Look, Lockington probably a bit disappointed in their loss against Heathcote, which was a much needed win there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the chocolates. I think Leachville hanging in the five is just going to give them a bit too much to play for. So I'm going to go for Leachville up at Leachville against Lockington.
Yeah, I just reckon I don't know whether they had any injuries last week, Lockie, but they're down a few players anyway, and I don't. I just think Leachville at the moment have a little bit more to play for. And I could be wrong. If Lockie won, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm with you on going probably Leachville as well. Tough one for
Yep.
White Hills at home to North Bendigo.
Yeah, traditional rivals back in the old Golden City League days. North Bendigo coming off a bye, so they're going to be freshers. daisies. And looking at them 2 weeks ago against Elmore, they were unrelentless and did not take mercy on the bottom sides. And I think that's going to be the same this week. North Bendigo is going to be far too strong for White Hills down at Scott Street.
Yep, and unfortunately for for White Hills is that they got a lot of kids playing and they can be inconsistent, and even last week same thing, yeah. But look at it, they'll get there. They'll this will be a good season for them, and next year they'll be up there, I reckon.
I'll be a good challenge for him too. And look, I'm sure Brad will have his players up and about for the game, and he'll be saying this is the standard, this is the yardstick that we need to
Yeah,
match if we want to be
he
a
will.
top five side.
He will. Look, Colbo Mount Pleasant is easy the game. Sorry, not Colbo. Take that back, Brian. Heathcote and Colbo is the match of the round. We haven't seen Colbo for Heathcote for a little while. I haven't anyway. So you know more than I would. Colbo last week were, like I said, they were both. It was a messy game. It was a lot of pressure. It was wet. It was you're running in water that bloody deep, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Heathcote, they just seem to be the old BP, the quiet achiever.
Yeah, I watched them a couple of weeks ago. Who they played? They played Leachfield that day, and they were really up and about. It was a hard fought win. They won by about 2.5 goals in the end. But if you recall, Heathcote knocked off Colbo in the corresponding game earlier in the year over at Colburn. So they'll have it in the back of their mind that they've already done it once. But Colburn, they want that double chance, and they don't want to get slipped down to fourth, which could quite easily happen this weekend. And then that puts them into a cutthroat elimination final. So this is probably for me the match of the round. I think Heathcote, like I said earlier, haven't done a thing wrong since they lost against Lockington, and the likes of Razanak and Dylan Johnson and Jarks has found some good form of late. I'm going to go with the Saints against the Hoppers in what's been a traditional arch rival game in the HDFNL between these two formidable sides.
And just a quick one too, question I was going to ask you before. Sam Cheatley Medal, Razanek, Sam Dunstan, who would be the third one of the Wharton boys?
Yeah, probably Wharton, and I wouldn't go past either. Uh, who is it? It is Ryan Alford for North Bendigo as well, as a bit of a darkie.
Ryan Alford.
Sorry, yeah,
Ryan's been playing twos most of the season, mate.
no, sorry, not Alford. Jordan Ford, sorry, Jordan Ford, number 7.
Yeah, Rhino's a good
So
man.
you think I'd know me players by now, wouldn't you? Jordan Ford.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah.
Everyone at North's a chance. Young bloke that we bring up, Ruddick, a chance as well, by the way, at North. He's had a good season. The last game is the one that we do for our live coverage, which is Mounts and Elmore. How it goes with Nathan Kay he played pretty well last week for Mount Pleasant against his old club, Elmore, which he was the coach.
Yep.
He still plays. I tell you what, they've done all right because Mounts have picked up him to play footy and his girlfriend who played at South Bendigo to play Netty. So
Netty, yeah.
Not a bad.
So they got a combo. Got a combo deal, did they?
Before June 30, mate. They always do it, Mounts.
Yeah.
They're the kings of it, aren't they?
Yeah, they got a combo deal 2-for-1, which is good on them. Look, I think Mounts would be too strong, even though Elmore coming off a good win against White Hills last week. Although in saying that, Mounts have been a bit sketchy at home. So, if there was ever going to be an upset of the year, it would be against this. And I'm sure Luke Freeman will have his charges up and about. I just think Mounts are starting to, like you say, with Nathan Kay, there might be a little bit of
niggle
spice in this game. So players like to prove a point against their former team. And so, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think for me, it's going to be Mount Pleasant, probably by about 5 or 6 goals that goal.
Yeah, I think so. Again, Elmore, when they play well, but it has to be for the whole game. And to beat them, like Mount Pleasant, that is, after what I saw last week, you have to, don't let them go for 5 minutes. They'll kick 3 or 4 goals. You're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Good sides do that. Yeah. So, there you go. We'll watch with interest how it all goes with the meeting tonight with Kahuna. And apart from that, Dave, we probably need to leave us with a joke, mate, if you can.
Well, Cogs, as
I'm going to let you go first, by the way, because I have one,
okay.
Just in case yours is pretty ordinary.
Well, as you know, Cogs, I was up on the Gold Coast last week, and while I was up there, I saw a penguin driving a
Oh,
car
yeah.
around. And he took his car to the mechanics for a quick checkup. And while he was waiting for his car to be fixed, he goes into the nearby ice cream shop and makes a messy eating. Returning to check on his car, he asked the mechanic for the verdict, and the mechanic said to him, "Looks like you blew a seal." The penguin wipes his face and said, "No, that's just ice cream."
Oh, so this show's on. Oh, it's an earlier now. You're in trouble. It wasn't bad though. That was pretty good for you. This joke's about you, by the way.
Okay,
Yeah,
again.
yeah, it is. So my mate Dave walks into the bar. Right? He walks up to the bar and he says to the barman, "Mate, just grab us a beer, will you?" He says, "Yeah, no worries." Anyway, he puts his hand in his pocket and he pulls out this thing and dumps it on the bar, and it's a little man. It's a little man, like this high, little man off the table. In the
So
other,
miniature Dave.
yeah, little Dave was it. And next week he pulls out this miniature piano. He sits it next to the little man. And barman says, "Well, what the hell's this?" He goes, "Well, watch this." Little man starts playing it, really good. Wow, that is unreal. What happened there? And he said, "Oh, I ran into a genie. He gave me one wish." And he went, "Well, hang on, whoa." He said to Dave, the barman, he goes, "Well, where do I see this genie?" And he says, "Well, he's just down the road, just down." Well, okay, look after the bar. I'm going to whip down. He said, "Yeah, sure, mate, go for it. I've got this." And little man's playing his piano, Dave, and you're standing there. And anyway, 5 minutes later, the barman comes back and he's got all these ducks everywhere. They're everywhere, Dave. I'm like, "Quack, quack." And Dave goes, "Mate, what's all this about?" He goes, "That genie that you told me to go down and see, there's something wrong with that genie. She's a bit weird." And he goes, "Why?" He goes, "I'll ask for $1,000,000." And she gave me $1,000,000. Dave turns around and he goes, "What do you reckon? What do you reckon I asked for a 12-inch penis?"
Brian.
A
Yes.
12-inch penis, Dave.
Penis.
Penis,
Yes.
12,
Yeah.
12 inch.
Piano.
Anyway,
Yeah. Just well, we could better put this on a bit later tonight, Brian. That's all I'm
yeah, I
saying.
think so. I think we'll put some, yeah. Anyway, it's all fun. Just take it as it is. Bit of fun. Bit of fun.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dave. You've been so good. We might even have you back next week, I reckon.
Sounds like a plan.
Have a good week. We'll be listening for that great call of Dave Hancock, maybe out at Heathcote.
Who knows? Time will tell.